Welcome back everybody. There's a big black moon rising. That sounds like a country song. Yeah. So welcome to the next installment of FTB Infinity. I am ZurnZen. Today we will be doing some, surprise, techie nonsense. Hooray. And also an update to the man cave. So without further ado, let's get cracking with the knacking. See you soon. Can you see all those lovely little dots? Beautiful little dots. Ah, busy little dots. Little dots flying all around. Flying all around. Bless them. Because today we're going to talk about bees. And right now, probably all of you have just switched off. Because bees can be a little bit fiddly. It's very dull if you do it the old way. This is the new way. This is using Gendustry. Much, much better. The old way was that you would make apiaries. Let's just have a look. Apiaries in forestry. Using impregnated wood, and you would need, for impregnated casing, you would need a carpenter, and then you would need seed oil, so you would need a squeezer, blah 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 blah. And then once you had done that, you would put bees in them. Right, so here's some bees I got earlier. So you would go, what's a common drone used for? So you would look in here, and you would say that a common drone bee breeding, you can use that with the marsh to get a damp, but you only get a 10% chance. As you look through here, 12%, 10%, 12%, 10%. So most of the time you would not get the bee you wanted, and sometimes you would go through thousands of bees just to get the one you wanted. Now, with Gendustry, I mean, that's fine. That's the old way, and that's fine if you want to have a slow, steady way of making bees. But if you want to use tech, which you know I'm a fan of, then you'd use Gendustry. And Gendustry does it quite simply. You use a genetic sampler, and that is made, let's have a look, see. Genetic sampler, yeah, you do have to start creating some new Gendustry stuff. But once you get them in the AE, and you get auto crafting, they're quite quick. So you make a genetic sampler, and what that does is it takes a bee or a tree, as you can see there, a bee or a tree, and what that does is it breaks it down into its constituent parts. So you can drop a bee in there. Let's have a look in here. You can say drop an imperial bee in there, and then you might actually get a sample which is species imperial. So you would be able to put that into a genetic template, like I've got two here. I've got a diamond one and a lapis one. And then you can enforce that template onto other bees. But that's another story. We'll get to that in a moment. To start with, you need a mutagen producer. And what this does is it creates this lovely green goop. I put uranium blocks in there because that's the highest yield you can get. The mutagen, it does tell you how much power it takes, how much mutagen you get off each thing. Generally, redstone is your starting one. So once you've done that, you'll need a mutatron. Now this is an advanced mutatron. The normal mutatron gives you a percentage chance, whereas the advanced mutatron, you can put your bees in here and you can select which ones you want it to be underneath, and it will force it to be that. Which is really good if you're going on a long chain of bees. Say if you want to get a diamond bee, which is what I've got in here. Now I'll just show you to get a diamond bee. It's quite a long way. Oh, gone past it. To get a diamond bee, you would need a lapis and an imperial. So let's go down one of these chains. To get an imperial, you would need a noble and a majestic. To get one of them, but then to get majestic, you need to go down and get a noble, princess, and a cultivated to make one of them. Then to get cultivated, you would need a rocky and a common, and you know what I mean. That's what I mean. That's just one leg of that chain. Obviously, there's two legs to that, so it's quite a lot of bees, but you can enforce it with this machine. You can pop them in here. In fact, let me just show you. Let me grab a... Oh, let's think. Let's get a Majestic and... What else have I got? Let's try... Let's have a look at a Valiant. And what can we use with a Valiant? Let's have a look. The Valiant and Rocky will make an Ebony Queen. I'm not quite sure what that gives you. Might be an ink. Or a Prussian. I think that gives you ink, actually. So let's look at a Water and a Valiant. So we have a drone. There are two types, there's a drone and a princess. So if we get a Valiant princess rather than a drone, we have two of those. And then a water drone. What that will do is it will make a queen, like that, you see. A Prussian queen. Now in the normal Mutatron, you put that in and it would run, and you may get one of these, you may not. Very similar to the old apiaries. This is more enforced. So you get some genetics labware in there, which is a bit pricey when you first craft this. As I say, it creates a diamond 16, so it can be a bit pricey because all of Gendustry uses labware. So that's quite a lot of diamonds. So here we have a Prussian queen. So we go, yeah, we'll have a Prussian queen. Click on that, it creates the Prussian queen. Nice and simple. Boop, like that. And then what we do is we pop one in here. Let's get rid of my emerald queen out of there. You pop that in there, and off it goes. It's happy. There's no error. And that will just sit there and make your Prussian queen for you. Oh, there you can see a comb coming out. Because you can get combs out of these. And a Prussian will produce 75% honeycomb and 25% blue tinted comb. And these, once you put them through, have a look around the back, put them through a centrifuge, will change that comb into silky propolis, royal jelly, or maybe in the case of, say, the diamond bees, it will give you, let's just have a look, Diamande, it will give you these diamond fragments, and 9 of those will make 1 diamond. So effectively, these are making diamonds for me. Just, I would say for free, but not quite for free, because you are paying the price with power, but hey ho. So once you've got your bee, you pop it in there, and as you can see, it's still working. I've got little upgrades on these, and that's the light upgrade, which will make it work 24 hours, rather than only during sunlight, which is what the bees will use. I've got a seal upgrade, which means that it will work through rain, and an automation, which means that any drones that are put in here, any drones or princesses, will automatically get fed back through into here. Simple. So we'll let that go for a while and see what that does. Let's just put my emerald things back in here. Now you can see them two won't stack. As you can see, it says unknown genome. What you can do is you can get a beealyzer, and you can analyze these bees, and it will tell you exactly what those bees will do, whether they are, because they have different traits. All bees have different traits, whether it's a cave dweller, or it loves flowers, or it loves rocks for flowers, or it has a big territory. They all have different traits. Eventually, once you run them through here, they'll all have the same trait, like these guys do, and you get no extras, and then they will stack. So, these are industrial apiaries that I'm throwing them into, which do take power, as you can see there. Got 3 of those, and those will just sit there and spew out whatever the bee's making. Then round the back, I've just got some item conduits and some power, so it's just pulling out the items, popping any items that need to go into a centrifuge into there, and any other items actually stay in there that won't go into the centrifuge, which is handy. So all your bees won't come out and jam up your centrifuge. And then from there, I've just got an ender chest, pulling out anything from the centrifuge back into the system. Little test rack there. No more Nicolas Cage. So sad. Anyway. Anywho's. So what do you do when you've got your bees, or you have a surplus of bees? Well, that's where these genetic sampler comes in. You can bob some in there and it will spit out various traits. I think I've got, if I have a look in here, as I say, it will put out various traits in the form of gene samples. And what you can do is you can create a genetic template like this. And to do that, you just put that in there and your gene samples either side of it. And that will, you can see there, I've got 7 of 13 in there. If I hold down and shift, you can see. It's missing a species, but it's got day and night flying. It's missing flowers or speed, but it can fly in caves. Its effect is none. The effect means that there are some bees, especially down the excited and esoteric line, that those bees will have strange effects like lightning, as I found out when I used to play Feed the Beast Monster. And it set my entire house on fire with lightning, which is not nice, I have to say. That was not nice. So what else have we got in here? We've got lifespan missing. Territory is the territory in which it will create more flowers, because these flowers weren't here before. The more bees you have, the more flowers they will produce, because they will pollinate. They will make loads of lovely flowers. So what else we got in here? Humidity, that means the humidity of the biome. So obviously some biomes are cold, deserts are really hot. Some bees will only work in certain areas, like desert bees will only work in a very hot climate. Nether bees will only work in a hell biome, things like that. Fertility of 4, which means it'll put out up to 4 offspring. And a tolerant flyer, which is true. So you can make, this is my blank template for basically reducing, well, it basically rewrites their DNA to what I want it, which is all these effects. Now, you may think, well, that's just going to give you the same bee and everything's going to be the same. So you're going to end up with, let's say, if you put a Rocky Princess in there, then you're going to still get a Rocky Princess, but it's going to have fertility of 4 this time. And it's going to stand a humidity tolerance of both 1, which is 1 up and 1 below. So 1 hot and 1 cold. And all that does is it basically blanks that bee out. It gives it a high fertility. So once I've got that bee, I then have things like this, where I have a lapis, as you can see, that's just got species on it. And then a diamond, which has just got species. So once I've blanked out that bee, I can then turn it into a diamond bee, or a lapis bee, or an imperial bee. I haven't used these yet. These are still blank. So I've got fertility of 1 if I want to drop it down, territory of average. So if you have a load of bees, you just put them through this machine, and it will pull out at random different traits of that bee. Then once you've got that, you pop that into the genetic imprinter and then pop your bee in there that you want to change, and it will pop out there. Squirt it out on that side. Now I have a genetic transposer. What that will do is that will copy your serum or your genetic template. And then over this side, I've got DNA extractor, which is, this is if I've got far too many bees, to be honest. Sorry, this is the replicator for the templates. And this takes liquid DNA as well as mutagen, I believe. Yes, I think it does. So if you have too many bees, you can always just put them through the grinder and grind them up into liquid DNA, which is nice. So that's the bees, and I just let them sit here and play away, do their thing. They're quite handy, because as I say, you can get free stuff out of them. There's a hell of a lot of bees. If I just go in here and type drone. No, is it drone? That's showing a drone. Let's actually have a look at forestry. That will tell us. Let's just click through here. These are the combs that some bees will put out. You can get little bits of gold or iron. Basically, bees can create anything that you need in small amounts, so you've got to be patient with that. And if we move through, no, it's not showing any of the bees. Hey ho. But there are quite a lot of bees throughout. You'll find their combs dotted around the place. I don't think there's any around here because I've picked them all up. But you'll need a scoop for the bees. Otherwise, if you break the hives without a scoop, you will lose your bee. So let's have a look at a scoop. It's nice and simple. A scoop's just a block of wool and some sticks. Should a scoop. Simples. Changes to the man cave. Well, we've knocked out this system and put in this brand new Steve's factory manager thing in here. This is not an original build. This is done by KingDaddyDmac, and I'll link a tutorial if you should desire to go and play with this. Steve's factory manager is absolutely excellent. Looks a lot, but once you get into this, it's quite simple actually. It's quite simple indeed. All neat and tidy, using these inventory cables at the back, and then one link back into my AE system. And what this will do is, if I put gold, diamond, or whatever it needs for any of these, it will automatically create them and then throw them out into the AE automatically. So I don't have to sit here like I did before with just one inscriber, popping redstone, popping silicon, and popping gold at the top. Let's just see. Let's just make some diamond ones. See how many diamond. I don't think I've got that much diamond out. Let's just grab 32 of those, and let's pop that in there. That diamond will come out into the one it needs to go into, which is this fella, and it will create a printed circuit. Now you can speed these up. You can put speed upgrades in these, but I don't need them that fast. And then once that's created a printed engineering circuit, that then pops down here into here to give me a proper engine. I've forgot them in there because they were in the old one. It will create an engineering processor. Job done. Nice and simple. And that will just merrily work away and then pop everything back into here. So if I look at circuit, oh no, it's processor, isn't it? Oh, silly me. You silly goose. Processors, as you can see there, I've got quite a few. Calculation processors I've still yet to do. I mean, I can craft these because I've got a little AE system at the top of here telling it that if I want an air, it will drop in Certus, silicon and redstone in there. So I can auto craft these as well. Let's just do that for calculation. Let's just throw 10 in there. And that'll throw 10 of each of the ingredients in there. And then that'll start. Now if I go up and have a look here, there you go, it's throwing them in. And that'll now, as you can see, it's making the silicone, it's making the pure Certus calculation circuits. That then pops down into this one, and it makes the printed processors. It's a wonderful little system, nice and simple, nice and compact. This can be a bit tricky when you get into this, but as long as you just think logically of where it's going. Like we've got an input here, and what that's doing is it's inputting anything from the diamond chest, and then it's split into two connections. One of them goes off this way, and that says any silicon needs to get put into a certain inscriber. And oops, sorry. Same with gold ingots, that gets put into another inscriber. Oh, I keep doing that. And the same with quartz and redstone. On the other side of the floor, we have anything that's printing the silicon. I've done it again. Printing the silicon or printing the gold chips. That's this area here. Oh, I've got an obsession today with pressing escape. So that creates those. I've got a separate trigger, which is when anything's done in all of these. Oh, I've done it again. It will then go over to the chest. And I purposely did it that time. So it's a wonderful little thing. As I say, I'll put a link to KingDaddyDmac, because I will not take responsibility for this. This is somebody else's wonderful idea. So what else have we got? Oh yeah, down this side. I had loads of armour in my AE system, so I thought the best way of getting rid of them is to make little armour stands and basically have them adorn my base. So we've got all the ironwood from Twilight Forest, Phantom Helms, full set of Steel Leaf, and some of the Crimson, which I've yet to deal with. We also have more. It's all kind of finished now. Although I am kind of thinking of turning it all into this abyssal on this level. As you can see over there, when we get over there I'll show you what I'm thinking of doing. But I've got more deep storage in here now. So a vast majority of anything that's over probably 2k, 3k seems to go in these deep storage units. May extend these across this wall and possibly get rid of my essence berry farm that's hiding away in there. But we shall see. We shall see. So this was the molecular assembler, and I've extended it now. We now have 2 more crafting core processors. Still have to update this to 64, but yeah, it's not really an issue. And yeah, I just decided that, well, let's try and keep a theme down on this level, because it seems to be the black and circuit blocks over there, and then cobble everywhere else. So I quite like this style. May extend that into this area and over into our production area on this side, which is starting to get a bit messy. What have I got in here? Pocophenium blocks. Starting to get a little messy. The Tinkers is always a bit of a pain to actually slot in somewhere, because it's quite a large sprawling thing, and it's very hard to pin down into a certain number of blocks. Like for example, a QED, you know, you can pop into a 3x3, and then the assembly table you can do the same. Got a little hole here while I was working this out. So I may do the same on this side. Yet to be determined. But this is the kind of look I want to go for. This look here. And I may run this down through all these columns as well. Although I don't know how this will affect my little hidden doors. It'll probably look horrendous, but we shall see. Because the problem with hidden facades and things is it does this. It breaks up the connective texture. So you can't have that anymore. Which is a bit of a shame. But there you go. Down into Farmcraft. As you can see, I've done a bit more work here. We now have the Farmcraft Arcane Terminal now. So I can craft things. I also have Essentia. Now, this is utterly fantastic. I've been a fan of Farmcraft for many years, over many versions of this. What you used to have to do before is each of these used to go into a glass jar that you put on the wall. It had to be, I think it's a maximum 12 blocks away from the central crafting area. This is the runic matrix of awesomeness in the middle. And then what that would do is, when you crafted anything here, it would draw out the items that need the essential it need from various jars across your wall, pop them into the middle. But now we have this fantastic thing where it puts them all into a kind of a Farmcraft AE. And that, what I will need, is I'll need a little terminal here which is linked to AE, so whenever this needs anything, it basically draws out of AE what it needs. And then I have a little arcane alembic and an alchemic furnace. So if ever I break things down, let's say, let's have a think. Let's take 16 blaze rods, like that. What I'll do is I'll pop them in there. Oh no, it's popped them in there. Of course it has. I'll pop them in there. And what it does, it starts to burn it down, and you start to get essentia. That essentia, as you can see there in the one that's floating above it, and now Procantio. Like that. Anything that appears in here is instantly getting sucked out into the AE system. So over here, you'll see any Procantio, there you go, starts to add into the system. I think they're just Bracantio and Ignis, aren't they? The blaze rod. Let me just throw one on the floor and find out. Let's just turn my magnet off. Because we don't need that. Let's throw that down and then let's just have a quick look. I don't think I've scanned one of these. No, I haven't. Yeah, just 4 Ignis and 2 Bracantio. So I'll get off that one. Which is nice. Let's pop that in there. And the good thing is, you may think, well, you should have like 4 or 5 alembics and then 4 or 5 of these. But to be honest, when this fills up, if there's no room in this alembic, it won't send it out. It'll just hold it here. So it's like a holding cell, and it won't burn anymore until there's room. And then this should start firing off again. Come on, there you go. And it'll burn off the last one. Fill up again, and it'll just wait. So it'll just sit there and wait. It was very handy indeed. Very handy. See, these are the old jars from the old system. I still use these for the alchemical construct. If I want to create thaumium or anything like that, I will put the necessary amounts in there, and that will draw them into the arcane limit, and then arcane construct, and spit out the thaumium for me. Very handy. And I do believe that's it for this episode. Nice and simple episode. Very straightforward. We learnt about bees. The bees. Oh. I used to love bees. I love them even more now with Gendustry. I kind of went off them. I kind of got burnt out on the bees because once you start down that road, it's a time vacuum. And that could be the end of your game. And it burns you out quite quickly. It does bees. But now with Gendustry, it's fairly simple. Obviously it has been nerfed because it is quite simple, so the amount that you get from bees is a little bit reduced, I think. I don't think you get as much as you used to. Which is fair enough, because you've got a technical system that can skip all the bee breeding nonsense, which is good. Anywho's. So this is ZurnZen, ending another episode. I will see you on the flip side. Oh, please like and subscribe. It will help me out. What word shall we use this week? It will help me out magnanimously. Ooh, that's a good word. So yeah, this is ZurnZen. I shall see you on the flip side. Much love.